This coin almost ended up forgotten in a dusty drawer, but when it was finally recognized, it shocked the entire coin world by being valued at nearly $1 million. Imagine this: a single penny from 1957, no mint mark, slipping through the hands of millions of people, treated like nothing more than spare change. Yet, for the few who know its secret, it represents a once-in-a-lifetime fortune. But why would a 1957 Lincoln penny, the kind most people barely glance at, be worth such a staggering amount? The answer lies in the tiny details that 99% of people miss. And if you're not paying attention, you could be holding history's most valuable penny, and never even know it. At first glance, the 1957 penny seems ordinary. Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile. The words, "In God we trust." The absence of a mint mark under the date, meaning it was struck in Philadelphia. To most, it's just another old copper coin. But collectors know, appearances can be deceiving, because some of these 1957 no mint mark pennies were struck with rare minting errors, the kind of mistakes that transform a simple coin into a $1 million miracle. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One collector in the Midwest discovered a 1957 penny in his grandfather's old cigar box. At first, he didn't think much of it. Just another old cent. But when he looked closer, he noticed something strange. The lettering on Liberty looked doubled, almost like it had been stamped twice. That tiny imperfection, barely visible to the naked eye, would change his life forever, because what he was holding was a double-die penny, one of the rarest errors in U.S. coinage. And when his coin eventually reached an auction house, it sold for a jaw-dropping price, nearly $1 million. Collectors were shocked. Dealers couldn't believe their eyes. A penny most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up had just made history, and here's the chilling part: many more of these coins could still be out there, hiding in plain sight. Think about it. In 1957, over 1 billion pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Billions of coins scattered into circulation. But among them, only a handful contained the error. Those few, tiny mistakes, caused by slight misalignments, doubled lettering, or die cracks, created the rarest of the rare. This is why coin hunters scour estate sales, junk drawers, and old piggy banks, because they know lightning can strike at any time. But the story doesn't end there. Another collector stumbled across a 1957 penny with a completely different error. This one had a dramatic die crack across Lincoln's head, giving it the nickname, the cracked skull penny. Most people wouldn't even notice it, dismissing it as simple wear. But in the eyes of collectors, this coin was a treasure, and it sold for thousands. Not all valuable 1957 no mint mark pennies are error coins. Condition plays a massive role. Imagine a penny struck nearly 70 years ago, surviving in pristine, untouched condition. No scratches. No fingerprints. A perfect blazing red luster, as if it had just left the mint. Such coins are known as mint state red. And when one of these coins surfaces, it sends shockwaves through auctions. One such example, graded MS67 red, stunned the market by fetching tens of thousands of dollars. But experts believe that if a flawless, top-pop specimen were to appear perfectly preserved, no flaws, it could command close to $1 million, and that's why the hunt continues. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins. Collectors are watching every auction, waiting for the next headline. And ordinary people just like you, could unknowingly be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it. But here's where it gets even more fascinating: the year 1957 wasn't supposed to produce anything unusual. It was just another year for the Lincoln Wheat Penny series, which had been minted since 1909. But history has a way of leaving little secrets behind. Some of these 1957 pennies were struck on leftover planchets, blanks meant for earlier years or even other denominations. Imagine a penny struck on a dime silver planchet. That kind of discovery would send shockwaves through the entire hobby, and experts estimate such a coin could easily reach into the $1 million range. And yet, countless people spend these coins every single day, not knowing they're giving away a piece of treasure. But what makes this story even more gripping is that some of the most valuable finds happened by accident. One man in Pennsylvania thought he was cashing in a jar of pennies at the bank. At the last second, he decided to check a few dates. That's when he spotted a 1957 no mint mark penny with unusual doubling. He pulled it out, showed it to a dealer, and within weeks it was sold for a life-changing amount. One jar of pennies. One moment of curiosity. And it turned into a miracle worth nearly $1 million. Now let me reset your attention, because here's the key. If you're wondering how to spot one of these valuable coins, listen carefully, look closely at the word Liberty. If the letters look doubled, especially the B and E, you may have a double die error. Check the date, too. Some 1957 pennies show doubling on the 1957 itself. That's the kind of detail that separates a 1-cent coin from a $1 million treasure. Examine Lincoln's profile under magnification. A crack through the head, a faint extra line in the jaw, or any unusual mark could indicate a rare error. And finally, pay attention to color and shine. If the coin is bright red and looks nearly untouched, it could be an extremely high-grade specimen. Send it to a professional grader, because condition alone can mean the difference between 1 cent and a fortune. Every time you hold a 1957 penny, you're holding history. But some of them carry more than history. They carry the power to change lives, because for the right 1957 no mint mark penny, collectors aren't just willing to pay a premium, they're willing to pay up to $1 million. So before you dismiss that old coin in your drawer, look again. Study every line, every letter, every shimmer of copper. Because the penny you overlook today could be the treasure that changes your life tomorrow. This penny almost slipped through someone's hands, almost vanished into a jar of spare change, but instead, it shocked the entire coin world when it sold for nearly $1 million. And the most unbelievable part? It was just a regular 2015 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Now, before you think this is impossible, listen closely. Because tonight, I'm going to take you on a journey that could change the way you look at every penny in your pocket. This isn't just another coin story. This is about a modern penny, a coin so common, so ordinary, that most people would never give it a second thought. But hidden among them is a rare mistake, a minting mystery, that could make you a millionaire. Collectors call it one of the greatest surprises of the decade. Dealers couldn't believe it. And ordinary people, people just like you, started digging through their drawers, their wallets, and even their car cup holders, all because of this one shocking discovery. To understand, we have to step back. The year is 2015. The US Mint is striking billions of pennies. Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, the presses are running day and night. Each coin is supposed to be stamped with perfect precision, but every so often, something goes wrong. And when it does, history is made. That's what happened here. A small batch of 2015 pennies left the mint missing something crucial. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Just a blank space, leaving collectors to scratch their heads. A no mint mark penny. It might sound small, almost meaningless, but in the coin world, this tiny omission turns an everyday coin into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure, and when the first one was found, it created shockwaves. A penny that should have been worth 1 cent suddenly fetched tens of thousands at auction. But that was just the beginning. As more surfaced, bidding wars erupted. Collectors drove the price higher and higher, until one example reached over $1 million. A 1-cent coin worth more than most people's houses, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The mint remained silent. No press release, no explanation, no admission of error. To this day, no one knows how many of these 2015 no mint mark pennies exist. Was it a handful? A few dozen? Or are there still hundreds hidden, waiting to be discovered? The mystery only fuels the fire, and that uncertainty has collectors everywhere checking their change. Imagine buying a coffee, handing over a dollar bill, and getting back 99 cents in change, one of which could secretly be worth over $1 million. It's happened before. And it could happen again. Now here's the part most people don't know. The difference isn't just the missing mint mark. It's the condition. Experts say that the few examples that bring 6 or 7 figures are the ones that survived in flawless, uncirculated condition. They gleam like they just left the press yesterday. Not a scratch. Not a blemish. And because of that, collectors will do anything to get their hands on one. Even circulated ones, the coins you find in everyday pocket change, can still fetch thousands. And that's where the dream begins. Ordinary Americans are pulling coins from piggy banks, old jars, and dusty shoeboxes, each one hoping they've been holding on to a miracle without even knowing it. But here's the real kicker. Most people miss the signs. They glance, they see Lincoln's familiar face, they toss the coin aside. They never notice that tiny missing letter. They never look close enough. And that's why so many of these treasures remain undiscovered. Collectors were shocked when one of these surfaced in a small-town pawn shop. A man walked in with a jar of loose change, expecting to get a few dollars. The shop owner, a longtime coin enthusiast, spotted something odd. He leaned in, pulled out a magnifying glass, and realized what he was holding. That one penny from the jar later sold for nearly $500,000. One man's pocket change became a life-changing miracle, and yet, for every person who finds one, there are thousands who let them slip away. Pennies tossed in tip jars. Pennies dropped on sidewalks. Pennies thrown into fountains for a wish. If only they knew. If only they'd taken that one extra second to look. But what makes this story truly unbelievable is that the hunt isn't over. In fact, it may have only just begun. Dealers believe there are still undiscovered 2015 no-mint mark pennies out there. And the next one could surface at any moment. First, pick up every 2015 penny you see. Turn it over. Look carefully, just below the date. If there's no mint mark, no little DRS, your heart should skip a beat. That's the first sign. Next, check the condition. The brighter, the sharper, the better. If it looks untouched, as if it just came off the press, you could be staring at a six-figure or even seven-figure treasure. Many people confuse normal Philadelphia pennies with true errors. Philadelphia coins usually don't carry a mint mark either. The key is in the strike. The true rarities show subtle details, sharper lines, slight misalignments, a certain look that experts can spot instantly. That's why professional grading is essential, and here's where the dream turns real. If you find one, even in worn condition, it could pay off a car. If you find one in pristine condition, it could pay off your house. Some are already valued at over $1 million. And prices are still climbing. Are you willing to dig through that jar of pennies sitting in the back of your closet? Because someone will. And one day soon, another ordinary American will wake up to find that the penny they almost spent on a pack of gum is actually worth over $1 million. Its story isn't finished yet. The next chapter could be written by you. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Collectors were stunned when the truth about the 1944 no-mint mark wheat Lincoln penny began to surface. A penny that most people would never look at twice suddenly became the centerpiece of bidding wars, whispered about in hushed voices at coin shows, and fought over in auction rooms where fortunes change hands in the blink of an eye. The answer lies in a mistake, a fluke of history, and the kind of error so rare that only a handful of people in the world will ever see it in person. During the 1940s, America's mint was under pressure. The world was at war. Copper was desperately needed for ammunition, wiring, and military equipment. In 1943, most pennies were struck on steel planchets instead of copper. But in 1944, the mint returned to copper, melting down leftover shell casings from the battlefield to create Lincoln pennies. Somewhere in that transition, something extraordinary happened. A few pennies were struck on the wrong metal, steel blanks from 1943 that had accidentally slipped through the cracks. Others were struck normally in copper but carried subtle die differences and details that made them stand out as numismatic legends. These mistakes, almost invisible to the casual eye, turned a penny into $1 million miracle. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One collector, sorting through a small batch of wheat pennies, noticed a faint difference in weight, a strange sheen to the coin's surface, and no mint mark beneath the date. It was a 1944 no mint mark Lincoln penny, but not just any penny. It was one of the rarest error strikes in U.S. history. Auctioneers expected interest. What they got was a frenzy. Bidding paddles shot up. Prices soared. And when the gavel finally dropped, the crowd sat in stunned silence. That single penny had sold for over $1 million. Dealers rushed to get their hands on examples. Stories spread like wildfire. Was there another hiding in an old coin jar? Could one be lurking in pocket change, unseen, waiting to be discovered? The very idea electrified collectors everywhere. Most people have handled a 1944 penny at some point in their lives. Millions were made. But only a sliver of them contain the error that transforms them from 1 cent to $1.2 million. That means somewhere out there, in an attic box, a forgotten drawer, or a coffee can filled with loose change, another life-changing coin could still be waiting. To the naked eye, a 1944 penny looks like every other copper coin from the wheat cent era. But experts know what to search for: the absence of a mint mark under the date, a slightly different weight, and the metallic shimmer that gives away a steel strike. A regular copper penny weighs about 3.11 grams, but these rare steel errors tip the scale at only 2.7 grams. That difference is everything. Collectors who know this secret have struck gold, or rather, steel, with a coin that barely fits between their fingertips. And the stories of discovery are as thrilling as any treasure hunt. One man found his $1 million penny in an inherited collection, buried under dust and forgotten for decades. Another bought a roll of wheat cents at a flea market for just a few dollars, and inside was a coin that would rewrite his future for years. Whispers have circulated in the coin community. A farmer's coin jar rumored to contain a rare 1944 penny. A garage sale where an entire roll of wheat cents went unsorted. A child's piggy bank, never opened since the 1950s, still sitting quietly in a basement somewhere in America. The thought is enough to keep collectors awake at night. Every 1944 penny you see has a story. Some are just ordinary relics of a different time. But a chosen few, are silent millionaires in disguise, and here's where things get even more fascinating. During the same year, multiple mints were producing pennies: Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with a D, San Francisco with an S. But only the Philadelphia no mint mark pennies carry the specific errors and anomalies that make them worth life-changing money. Dealers know it, collectors crave it, and auctions prove it. When one of these rare coins surfaces, the bidding never stays quiet for long. But what happened at one famous auction shocked even seasoned experts. A 1944 no mint mark wheat penny in pristine condition was placed on the block. Estimates predicted it might bring six figures. But as collectors recognized the steel composition and error traits, the room exploded with energy. Prices doubled, then tripled. The gavel fell at an astronomical figure: more than $1.2 million. For a penny. A coin that could have easily slipped through fingers, spent at a grocery store, or lost beneath the cushions of a couch. This is why the 1944 no mint mark penny is one of the most talked about treasures in American coin collecting. It represents the thrill of discovery, the mystery of mistakes, and the hope that somewhere out there, the next great find is still waiting to be uncovered. Start by checking the date. It must read 1944. Look just beneath the numbers. If there's no mint mark, your curiosity should rise. Then, weigh the coin carefully. If it tips the scale at 2.7 grams, you may be holding history in your hand. Finally, look for the metallic silver-gray shimmer instead of copper's reddish-brown tone. These signs are the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth over $1 million, and beware of mistakes. Many people confuse ordinary 1944 copper pennies with the legendary steel version. Others see coins corroded to a silver color and assume they've struck gold. But only the true steel planchet errors hold that $1 million power. So tonight, when you open your drawer, when you shake that old piggy bank, or when you flip through a roll of wheat cents at a coin shop, remember this story. Because tucked inside those humble coins may be the very thing that changes your life forever. The 1944 no mint mark wheat Lincoln penny is more than a coin. It's a dream, a miracle, and a treasure that could be waiting in your hand right now. And here's the truth you can't ignore: this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in a parking lot, abandoned, forgotten, just another penny lost in the cracks of everyday life. But when it was finally discovered, collectors couldn't believe what they were holding. This ordinary-looking 1988 D Lincoln penny sold for over $1 million, and the reason why will leave you stunned. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out change from a gas station, and realizing that one of those copper red cents could pay off your house, your car, even your retirement. It sounds impossible, but one lucky collector lived that very dream. You see, in 1988 something unusual happened at the Denver Mint. A subtle mistake, so small, most people would never notice it, created a coin that would later rock the entire numismatic world. At first, these pennies circulated like normal. They were used to buy gum, slipped into cash registers, and stored away in jars across the country. Nobody suspected that hidden among them was a treasure worth over $1 million, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A sharp-eyed collector stumbled upon a 1988 D penny that looked just a little different. At first glance, it seemed like any other Lincoln Memorial cent. But the closer he looked, the stranger it became. The design wasn't what it should have been. The tiniest details, the shape of the letters, the alignment of Lincoln's portrait, the faint design quirks that only appear under magnification revealed something incredible. This wasn't just any penny. This was a rare transitional variety, a coin that never should have existed. Dealers rushed to confirm the discovery. Experts studied every mark, every curve of the engraving. What they uncovered left even seasoned professionals speechless. Somehow, dies intended for a different year had been paired with the Denver strike, creating an extraordinary error that turned this everyday coin into a once-in-a-lifetime miracle. Collectors were shocked. They had searched rolls of pennies for years, but few had ever even seen one in person. Suddenly, the story spread like wildfire. Hidden among the billions of ordinary 1988 D Lincoln cents, a handful carried a secret worth a fortune. And here's where the story gets even more unbelievable. At auction, when one of these rare 1988 D pennies surfaced, the room fell silent. Bidding started modestly, but quickly spiraled into a frenzy. Dealers clutched their paddles, collectors' hearts raced, and every bid pushed the coin higher and higher. Finally, the hammer dropped. The price? Over $1 million. One tiny penny, life-changing money. The truth lies in the transition. During the late 1980s, the U.S. Mint was adjusting its coinage designs, updating details on Lincoln's portrait and the lettering. Somehow, by mistake, an earlier obverse die was paired with the 1988 D Mint run. It created what collectors now call a mule, a coin born of mismatched dies. And that one fluke of history transformed a penny into a treasure worth more than most people's homes. Or are there still dozens, maybe even hundreds, hiding in change jars, waiting to be discovered? No one knows for sure. And that uncertainty fuels the obsession. This is why dealers and collectors across the nation still hunt through 1988 D pennies, hoping lightning strikes again. They know that a single discovery could mean financial freedom. They know that history has already proven this coin can cross the $1 million mark. And they know that the next great story could be theirs. The secret to identifying this coin isn't obvious. You won't find it by casually glancing at a penny under the light. You have to look closer, much closer. On a genuine 1988 D transitional error, the reverse is normal, but the obverse carries design details that don't belong. Pay special attention to the spacing of the letters Liberty, the shape of Lincoln's eye, and the subtle style of the date. These tiny traits reveal its true identity. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle because he cared enough to look closer. Because he didn't dismiss a penny as just a penny. Because he understood that history sometimes hides in plain sight, and yet, for every collector who has found one, there are millions more who unknowingly spent theirs at the corner store. How many people handed over a fortune without realizing it? How many life-changing coins were dropped into tip jars, vending machines, or parking meters? The thought is almost painful, but it's also inspiring. Because it means the hunt isn't over. It means the dream is still alive. Right now, in your home, in your wallet, even in that dusty jar of change sitting in the back of your drawer, a coin worth $1 million could be hiding. All it takes is the courage to look, and just when you think you've seen it all, another example appears, sending shockwaves through the market once again. That's the beauty of coin collecting. It's not just about history. It's not just about metal and mint marks. It's about the thrill of discovery. It's about hope. It's about the possibility that one small coin could change your life forever. So the next time you see a 1988 D Lincoln penny, don't ignore it. Don't toss it aside. Look at it carefully. Study every detail. Because this exact penny, the one most people overlook, has already been proven to be worth over $1 million. And the next one could be yours. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but instead, it sold for a fortune. Imagine holding a single penny, an ordinary 1994 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, and realizing it could be worth over $1.4 million. Collectors couldn't believe it. Dealers were stunned. And everyday people began tearing through their pocket change, hoping for a miracle. Because behind this one coin lies a story of mistakes, mysteries, and million-dollar surprises. At first glance, the 1994 no mint mark penny looks like any other. It's copper-plated zinc, the familiar memorial reverse, Lincoln's proud profile on the front. You've seen it 1,000 times. You've probably even spent it without thinking twice. But here's the twist: what makes this coin extraordinary is so small, so subtle, that most people miss it. And missing it could mean missing out on a life-changing fortune. One collector in the Midwest once pulled a 1994 penny from a handful of loose change, planning to toss it in a jar. But when he looked closer, something felt different. The strike, the details, even the weight seemed unusual. He couldn't shake the feeling that this coin wasn't ordinary. And he was right. That simple decision to stop, to look closer, changed everything. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. He took the coin to a local dealer, who at first brushed it off. After all, millions upon millions of 1994 pennies were struck. Why would this one matter? But when they examined it under magnification, they froze. The dealer leaned back, speechless. There it was, a rare minting anomaly, invisible to the untrained eye, but powerful enough to send its value soaring into the stratosphere. Suddenly, what seemed like a throwaway cent was worth hundreds of thousands, and eventually, after competition at auction, nearly $1.4 million. This wasn't just a coin. This was a miracle of metal, and here's the shocking part: this wasn't an isolated case. A handful of 1994 pennies with no mint mark have surfaced with unique traits, each one carrying unimaginable value. Some have doubled dies on the obverse, creating ghostly outlines of Lincoln's features. Others reveal striking errors where the dies slipped, leaving distorted lettering or unusual spacing. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on one. And regular people suddenly started checking their jars, drawers, and purses. Because if even one ordinary-looking penny could hide such a secret, who's to say another wasn't sitting in plain sight? This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. You see, in 1994, the Philadelphia Mint produced billions of pennies without a mint mark. They were everyday, mass-produced, forgettable. But among those billions, accidents happened. Dies cracked, shifted, and doubled. Some were struck on the wrong planchets, creating coins that weighed just slightly off. To the casual eye, nothing seemed unusual. But to the trained eye, these flaws meant fortune, and this is where the story gets even stranger. One penny struck in 1994 was found with a dramatic double die on "In God We Trust," the letters almost appearing to glow and shimmer. At auction, it sent collectors into a frenzy. People raised their paddles higher and higher, unwilling to let it slip away. And when the hammer fell, the crowd erupted. That single cent had crossed the unimaginable threshold, close to $1 million, but then came the discovery that changed everything. A specimen so rare, so flawless, that it pushed past even that barrier. Perfect condition, shocking error, and the power of mystery combined into a record-breaking sale. $1.4 million. One man's pocket change had become $1 million miracle. That's the question that keeps collectors awake at night. Somewhere, in a coffee can in someone's attic, in a forgotten coin jar in a garage, or even slipping through your hands at a grocery store checkout, another 1994 penny with no mint mark might be waiting, and the only thing standing between that coin and your fortune is whether you recognize it in time. But here's where most people go wrong. They think the value is in every 1994 penny with no mint mark. That's not true. Billions of them are worth face value only. The million-dollar versions hide in the details, doubling, striking errors, or weight differences. Some are slightly off-center. Some reveal ghost-like doubling in Lincoln's eye or the lettering on the reverse. Others, even rarer, were struck on bronze planchets instead of zinc, a throwback mistake that makes them instantly valuable. Condition is king. A 1994 penny in perfect, uncirculated condition, even without a dramatic error, can sell for thousands. But combine that with a rare minting anomaly, and the value skyrockets into the millions. He walked into that auction with nothing but a penny in his pocket, and walked out with a life forever changed. But the story doesn't end there, because every year, more stories surface. A woman in California once found a penny in her husband's change tray that looked slightly off. She almost ignored it, but her gut told her to have it checked. That coin, too, turned out to be a double die. The payout? Enough to pay off her home mortgage in full. Another man, a retiree in Florida, stumbled upon a near-pristine 1994 penny hidden at the bottom of a jar. It graded so high, the bidding war at auction sent chills through the room. He said later, "I spent my whole life working, and it was this penny that gave me freedom." Collectors were moved. The coin world buzzed with excitement. Because once again, the ordinary had become extraordinary. If you have a 1994 penny with no mint mark, don't dismiss it. Look closer. Under magnification, check the lettering, especially "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." If you see doubling, shadowing, or distortion, you may be holding a treasure. Weigh the coin if you can. A normal 1994 penny should weigh 2.5 grams. Anything heavier could mean it was struck on a leftover bronze planchet, an error worth a fortune. Examine Lincoln's eye, his profile, the steps of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Even the smallest flaw could signal enormous value, and most importantly, condition matters. If it looks brand new, untouched by time, it could be worth thousands before you even factor in errors. Combine rarity with condition, and you may just be staring at your $1,000,000 moment, because the truth is, the 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of hidden possibility. A reminder that sometimes, fortune hides in the smallest places. That even in your change drawer, a miracle could be waiting. This penny almost slipped through history unnoticed, but one collector's discovery turned what looked like an ordinary coin into a life-changing treasure, worth up to $1.5 million. It's the 1990 no mint mark Lincoln penny, and its story is one of the most mysterious, shocking, and thrilling tales in the entire world of U.S. coin collecting. Now imagine this. You're fishing through your pocket change after buying a coffee. You see a dull copper coin, scratched, a little worn, the same penny you've held thousands of times before. You're about to toss it aside, but then, something feels off. Something different. What you're holding isn't just 1 cent. It's the gateway to a fortune. But what makes this 1990 penny so special? Why would anyone pay over $1 million for a coin millions of Americans once spent without a second thought? The answer lies in a mistake so small, so subtle, that most people never even notice it. You see, in 1990, the Philadelphia Mint was supposed to strike pennies with no mint mark. That's normal. But here's the shocking twist: a handful of coins were struck with a missing feature so rare, it stunned collectors across the nation. This wasn't just a minting error. It was a mystery. A coin without its mint mark, a detail so tiny, yet so powerful, became the golden ticket in the world of numismatics. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world, because one day, a collector stumbled upon this penny in circulation, a simple coin, hiding in plain sight. When it hit the auction block, bids didn't crawl. They exploded. Dealers fought tooth and nail, the crowd gasped, and the hammer came down at a price no one believed possible. A coin that once bought a gumball was suddenly worth nearly $1.5 million. This penny isn't just rare. It's elusive. It hides in the shadows of everyday change, waiting for that one sharp-eyed collector who refuses to overlook the details. But why does the missing mint mark matter so much? To understand, we need to step back into the hidden world of minting secrets. Every U.S. mint coin tells a story. The tiny mint mark reveals where it was born: D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and none for Philadelphia. But in 1990, something went wrong. A batch of dies, used to stamp pennies, accidentally left off the crucial mint mark. And those pennies slipped quietly into circulation, undetected. No alarms, no recalls, no announcements. Just a silent error that would one day become $1 million phenomenon. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Imagine how many hands this coin passed through, how many people ignored it, how many were one glance away from a fortune, and never knew it. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, and it could happen again, because here's the truth: these coins are still out there. Maybe sitting in a jar of pennies. Maybe rattling in a glove compartment. Maybe hiding in your drawer right now. Most collectors wouldn't. They flip too quickly. They overlook the signs. And in that moment, history slips right past them. But here's how you can tell if you're holding a 1990 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth a fortune. 1990, then check just under it, right above the rim. That's where the mint mark should be. Normally, you'd see a tiny letter. But if that spot is blank, you may be staring at one of the rarest pennies ever struck. Now, condition matters. A circulated coin, worn and scratched, may fetch hundreds or thousands. But a pristine coin, shimmering as if it just left the mint? That's the one collectors will battle over, and that's the one that can soar into the realm of $1 million. But wait, there's another twist. Some fakes have surfaced. Shady dealers have tried grinding off mint marks to trick the unsuspecting. That's why you must be careful. Real experts know the difference, and if you're lucky enough to find a genuine one, authentication is key. Think about it. A penny worth 1 cent, transformed into $1 million prize, all because of a tiny missing letter, and that's the thrill of coin collecting. It's not just metal and minting. It's mystery. It's the chase. It's the idea that the next coin you touch could rewrite your life forever, because history has proven something time and again. The greatest treasures are often hiding in plain sight, and the 1990 no mint Mark Lincoln penny is living proof. Check your change. Search your jars. Study every detail, because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.